This yoga class combines two of my most popular practices to help you relieve both hip and knee pain. These are two neighboring joints that can oftentimes refer pain to each other, which is why it's so beneficial to target them together. Welcome to Yoga for Hip Pain. Let's begin lying on our mats with the feet flat. Squeeze the glutes and lift the hips up into a bridge pose. And we'll hold here for a few rounds of breath in and out through the nose. Combination today of stretching and strengthening to help you not only relieve pain, but also protect the joint from further inflammation. As always, please do listen to your body. Don't push into anything that doesn't feel quite right. Take breaks as you need to. Give it one final squeeze here, and then slowly lower your hips back down to the mat. Cross the right ankle on top of the left knee, and then use both hands to gently pull your right knee towards your opposite shoulder. So pulling in a gentle diagonal here, you could keep the left foot planted, or maybe lift up that heel, coming onto the ball of the foot, or a slightly more intense stretch. You're very welcome to close the eyes if that feels nice. Sometimes it can help us notice what we're feeling in our body. As we let that go and cross left ankle over right knee, we'll hold onto the left knee now, gently pulling it towards your right shoulder. Keep the sole of the right foot down or lift through the heel. And this is a wonderful posture to release the piriformis, taking pressure off of the trochanteric bursa in the hips, which can often get inflamed and cause pain. Really nice. Let that go. We'll bring the soles of the feet together into butterfly with the knees out wide. And then separate your feet just a few inches from one another and start squeezing the glutes to lift the hip and lower down. So taking this at your own pace, little butterfly hip bridges, probably not lifting up very high, and that's all right. These are really tricky. It's a great way to activate the entire region around the hip. And let's just take one more. And let that go. Let the hands assist you to bring the feet flat, the knees in towards one another. And just shift your hips over towards the right, just an inch or two as we come towards banana pose. So with the hips over towards the right, we're extending the legs towards the left and the upper body as well. You could cross your right ankle on top of the left. You might like to hold your right wrist with your left hand. Opening up through the entire right side of the body and hopefully feeling a really nice stretch towards the outside of that right hip. And coming back through center, let's release. Pick up your hips, shift them slightly towards the left, and everything else goes towards the right. Legs are extended, maybe left ankle crosses on top. Maybe you hold on to your left wrist. You might have already noticed that all of the postures for our hips here are done supine on our backs, which creates a lot of stability to help us really effectively target all the right muscle groups here. And letting that go, bring the entire body back to center, arms alongside the body. Flex through the feet, keep the legs extended, and start walking in place. So we're lifting one straight leg, bringing it back down, and then doing the same on the other side. Think about a little bit of engagement in the abdominals here. This is really working through the front of the hip and the thigh. You are getting stronger and more open every time you come back to a practice like this one. You can finish out that movement. Replant your left foot. Cross the right knee on top of the left, and then pick up both feet. So we're coming towards a variation of shoelace pose here. Your hands could rest on your bottom knee or top knee. Or if this is really feeling intense, just keep the sole of the left foot down on the mat. No matter where you are, notice where you feel the stretch. Imagine tension and pain releasing with every breath. You can let that go. Keep the legs crossed as you gently rock them over towards the left. Gentle supine twist here. You don't have to come down very far. This is a nice opportunity to check in with the upper body. Can you release through the face, and the shoulders, and the hands? Swing your legs back to center, uncross them. Take a moment to reset here. And then cross left knee over right. You could keep the sole of the right foot down. You can pick up those legs and hug on, wherever feels most appropriate for today. I've struggled in the past with chronic hip pain myself. I know how frustrating it can be. So just by being here, do remind yourself that you're making a difference in how your body feels. And let's set the right foot down. Keep the legs crossed as you bring them over towards the right, finding that twist. Still breathing nice and deep, in and out. One more breath here. And coming back towards center to uncross the knees. Both feet are now planted, knees pointing up towards the ceiling. And let's squeeze the legs together now as we pick them up off the mat. And then just tap your toes down. So we're pulling the knees as close in as we possibly can. And then just briefly tapping those toes. Keep going. Again, this is working through the front of the body, the hip flexors at the front of the hip. This can be quite a challenging move. Ground down through your arms. Think about squeezing the abs. And let's release. Plant both feet down, but just widen them out towards the edges of your mat so that you can let the knees fall in towards each other. In this knock-kneed position, it might feel nice to rest both hands on your stomach, just feeling it rise and fall. How are your hips feeling? Has anything changed? And well done, everyone, for this yoga for hip pain practice. Welcome to yoga for knee pain. For this sequence, I would recommend having a rolled up towel or blanket. It's going to make several of our stretches much more effective today. And we'll get started on our stomach. So placing that rolled up towel or blanket towards the right side of your mat. And then coming to lie down and opening your right knee out towards the side so that you can rest it on top of that roll. You could stay up on forearms in this half frog sphinx combination here. Or might be more comfortable resting down with the forehead to the back of the hands. So feel free to shift around as necessary. You can always move the knee a little bit up or down. Feeling into our breath here. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. And then let's slide that right leg back, simply moving our little Tootsie Roll over towards the left side. We'll take the same stretch. Bending the left knee out. Maybe it rests on that roll. Maybe it simply rests to the floor. Staying up on your forearms or bringing the forehead down. It's worth noting today that we actually do not have the ability to directly stretch our knee because the knee is not a muscle, it's a joint. So what we'll do today is target the muscles and the tendons that surround the knee and that are responsible for protecting it against pain and discomfort. Remembering the connection as well between our hips and our knees. Any instability in one can cause pain or instability in the other. Let's press our way up towards all fours and then towards a comfortable seat. Bring the right heel out in front of you, brace your right knee with your hands, and swivel that foot. So we're keeping the right heel down on the floor. We're turning the foot as far as it'll go in both directions without actually letting the knee move. So this is kind of a tricky one. Now let's slide the right arm underneath the right knee. Place your left arm on top of that knee so that you can take a few ankle circles. A couple times in one direction and a couple times in the other. Continue to breathe here. Thank yourself for doing something a little bit different today. And we'll switch sides. So the left heel comes out in front of you, lifting through the foot, bracing the left knee with both hands, and then we twist. This is challenging the knee and a different range of movement from what it is used to. Really working on range of motion here. And then sliding your left arm underneath. Right hand comes on top of the knee and we'll trace those ankle circles. Your left hand, by the way, can simply hold on to the other biceps or rest down anywhere it happens to land. Let's take a few more circles here in the other direction. And release. Really good. Bring your legs out in front of you and place your little rolled up towel underneath your right knee. So the legs are extended, the hands support you behind the body. And then think about crushing that towel underneath your knee. So flex through the right foot, engage through the front of the right thigh, and press that knee down. So little squeezes and releases here. We're activating the quadriceps, the muscle that is above the knee. It's the muscle that tends to get quite tight, quite lazy if we spend a lot of time sitting. And we'll let that go. Switching sides, bring the little roll underneath your left knee. We know the drill now. Our hands will place alongside or behind us just to support the upper body. Spine stays nice and straight as we squeeze that left knee down into the towel and then release. So really squeezing it as hard as you possibly can. Really make that quad muscle work here. And keep going at your own pace. And let's take 2 more. You're doing great. And release. Shift the roll off to the side. Release back onto your forearms behind you, straighten through both legs with flexed feet, and then lift the right foot off of the mat. So keep that right leg lifted for a moment. And then set it down, and same thing on the left side. We're holding up for a few seconds here before we release. Think about trying to make that leg longer each time, pressing the heel away from the body, finding new length. Just 2 more on each side. The last one. And let that go. We'll come to a standing position. Take your time getting here. You might like to come close to a wall or a chair, just if balance is a little bit tricky. We'll stand on our left foot. Bring the ball of the right foot behind you. We'll start to bring the upper body down and then back up. So both legs stay straight the entire time. The back heel is lifted, and again we can hold onto something for balance. Think about keeping your hips square towards the front of the mat. Lifting and lowering. And then switching sides. So right foot comes forward, ball of left foot goes back. Hands on hips or to a chair, and keeping the spine straight as we lower and lift that upper body. Challenging our balance is a wonderful way to work on stability in not just the knee joint, but the hips and ankles as well. Last one. And let it go. Grab hold of your little rolled up towel, place it onto the mat, and then coming to stand right in front of it, we'll place the top of the right foot on top of the roll. So softening the top of that right foot. And now let's bend through both knees at the same time, lowering the body, and then straighten and stand up. So this could be a pretty small movement. Again, there's no need to lower very much. We're challenging the stability of the knee joint in a more unusual position, which will help strengthen it for those everyday positions we find ourselves in much more frequently. Let that go. Probably feels good to give the legs a little bit of a shake here. Moving the towel over towards the left side of your mat. I'm sure you can guess what's coming next. We're placing the top of the left foot on top of it. Right foot is flat, hands to hips or somewhere where you feel more stable. We're bending through both knees and then straightening. Notice if one side feels a little bit easier or a little bit more challenging. These are great things to observe about our own bodies. Just making a mental note of which areas need some work, need some support. Over time, the body and brain can work together to try to balance those out. As we step off of that roll, feel free to give yourself a little shake. We're returning towards seated, whatever way you'd like to lower down here. And then roll your way onto your back and pull your right knee in towards your chest. You can hold on behind that thigh, sway the knee a few times, left and right. Finding a little bit of movement here. And then imagine that that right leg is trying to escape from your hand. So press that thigh forwards. And the hands will resist. Press, press, press. And then release. Sway the knee gently again a few times. And let that go. Second side, hug the left knee in towards the heart. Hold on behind the thigh. Begin with a couple of rocks, gently side to side. And then let that knee find the center. Again, we'll resist with our hands as the leg tries to press forward. Imagine that the leg is trying to extend towards the front of the room. Strong resistance here against the back of the thigh. And then release, pull the knee in closer and sway. And let that go. One final time, grab hold of your little roll, place it between the knees this time. The feet are flat, the knees pointing up towards the ceiling as we squeeze the glutes and lift them off of the mat. So we're holding here in this bridge pose. We're squeezing the thighs inwards, trying to crush that towel. Keep squeezing, keep lifting. We're almost there. Really lift. You'll be so glad you stuck with this through the end. Final breath here. Vertebrae by vertebrae, let yourself find the mat. Beautifully done. I hope you enjoyed this practice. Feel free to click the link on screen if you'd like a free copy of my 15-minute Tight Hips Fix video, and I hope you'll subscribe to my channel so we can keep stretching together, helping you overcome pain and feel and move better.